Okay, I'm not gonna go too much into detail about putting the bike back together. Just put the bike back together. I will kind of walk you through it a little bit. So obviously we got to take the seat off. I got to take the seat and the tank off again. Okay, that was just on there so we can do the preload adjustment. Okay, probably should put it back on the stand so it's a little easier to work on. Okay, what's the first thing that we should put back, and the last thing that we took off is the air box. Okay, let's go get this air box. So I took that piece of aluminum foil out, and we're going to go install this bad boy. Probably be a good idea to clean it first, huh? Yeah, let's go. Let me get this a good dusting outside. Okay, I'm gonna put my air box back in. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you a little trick when tightening this thing. So for most of the time, I was scared. Right, so here's a little tip tightening the collar. So when you're tightening this guy, it helps to hold it on, like put it between the teeth here, and then hold the part with the claw on it. Hold it down so it doesn't slip, okay? Because if I was scared it's gonna slip and then you're gonna smash your finger on the reservoir here, okay? So just kind of like this, hold it down, and then you can get on it. Okay, got it? Okay, I'm just gonna tighten the top one. Okay, so that should be good. So the shock is all good to go, nothing else to do to it now. So now we install the air box. Okay. Make sure you got your clamp on your carburetor. Okay, I have a KX65 carburetor, so my setup is probably different than yours if you don't have a KX65 carb. This is a like Franken KLX140. Okay, it has parts from other Kawasaki's on it. Okay, there's the two under here and then the mud flap. Okay, so did you get that? So I just installed the air box, the little mud flap, and the carburetor boot. Okay, it's going to be different on your bike, so I'm not really going to go over it in much detail. But for the air box, it's like I said, it's the two in the back here, the two for the mud flap in the back here, and then there's one on the top of the frame right there. Not too hard. Okay, yeah, getting that boot back into the carburetor is the hard part. Luckily for me, mine has a little mid pipe that I can kind of shift it around, and I can like move it like accordion, like. Okay. Okay, so airbox is in. Next thing to do is put the battery back, and then the gas tank, and then everything else. So we're almost done. All right, here's we go. Okay, battery install time. Pretty simple. Let's put the battery back in. Make sure all the wiring is how it was before. Make sure you don't lose the terminal nuts and all that stuff. It helps to put the terminals on before you put the battery into the bike. Alright, he's Mickey here, and there it is. It's done. That's put together. So I hope that video was helpful. Sorry, I made the reassembly look a lot more difficult than it should be. That's what I'm gonna say. I just did not want to see this in my garage in pieces anymore. Okay, so yeah, just put your bike back together the same way you took it apart. So pretty simple. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you can't see the shock from here, but definitely from here you'll be able to see it. Okay. There it is, so close to the frame, so close. Okay, but not touching. I think it'll be fine. Even if it touched just a little bit, I think it would be okay. Okay, and so yeah, so that's the reservoir. Okay, so that's how you can tell the difference between the KX and the KLX shock. The reservoir looks different. It's a little bit longer and bigger. So okay, and yeah, like I said, I can just get my fingernail in there. That's how close that is. I feel like maybe we should have shaved it a little more on this side, but I think it'll be okay. All right, so there it is. There's the BBR shock spring in there. All right, there's my little dealie right here for the jump starter. All right, so let me go sit on it. All right, hey, here's Mickey here. So here we are. I'm on the KLX140 or KLX170 with the KX100 shock on it. All right, so I'll tell you what it kind of feels like right now. I can get my feet flat foot, so I'm a flat foot. Okay, not tippy toes and not heel. I can barely heel foot it, but it's not comfortable. This is definitely a flat foot, and I think that's good. That's perfect. That's how I want it. Maybe a little taller would be nice, but I think it's okay. I'm 5'10", 175 pounds, okay? And I got the BVR shock. It still feels like it's too soft. It still feels like it's too soft, okay? All right, but it definitely feels like it's taller now, okay? So that might be a good thing. The weight is kind of more forward a little bit. So that lets me, that'll probably allow me to move the forks lower down in the clamps now to level out the bike. It still kind of feels like it's a little low in the back there. So maybe it's like it evened out is what I'm gonna say. Okay, so doing this mod, it got me like 1 extra inch of travel. So we look in the book, it's 7 inches of travel for the KLX140 stock. Okay, so with the KX100 shock and flipping the linkage, gave us an extra 1 inch of travel. Okay. Now the ground clearance, I'm not sure. I'm definitely sure we probably gained an inch of ground clearance too. So that's a good thing for riding off-road for sure. Okay, but it still feels like it's too soft. Okay, but it still kind of feels like it's a little soft still. You know, it's a lot softer than the front still. So I don't know. We'll see. Look forward to a test ride video. I will take this bike to Metcalf Motorcycle Park, and the trails are pretty beat up there, so that'll be a good way. A good test of the rear shock, okay? But yeah, it definitely feels like it's too soft still. I might want to mess around with the rebound adjuster a little bit, okay? But yeah, so okay, so I'm gonna go over how much it cost me to do this, okay? So I got the shock for $135 on eBay. Okay, and it had what is it? I had to pay tax. Okay, so I'm gonna go over how much it cost me to do this modification. Okay, so I got a 2004 KX100 shock off of eBay for $135 with the tax and the shipping. It wound up being about $150 anyways. So let's say it's $150 for the shock. I had to replace the bump stop. Okay, the bump stop was missing. It was gone. Okay, that was $10, so we're at $160 now. And then to change the oil in the shock, because it needed a I feel it definitely needed a shock service, because that fluid was like nasty in there. It cost me $30 to get the bottle of oil. Okay, it probably could have cost me $25 if I bought the KYB stuff. Okay, but I bought the Kawasaki stuff. So that puts us at 185 already. So 185, and then I had to spend $30 more so I can put nitrogen in the shock. Okay, so yeah, if you're gonna take the shock apart at all, like besides the spring, you need to take the nitrogen out, and that's gonna cost $30. Okay, so total damage $205 to do this whole project. Okay, now if I had paid to get the shock serviced and maybe change the seal and all that stuff, it probably would have cost double. Okay, the seal looks like it's still okay. It probably should have. I probably should have changed the seal. Okay, I was already there, you know, that type of thing. I feel like I kind of need to be at a stiffer spring still, also. So yeah, suspension work, not cheap at all, man. I'm telling you. But dirt bikes need a lot of maintenance on the suspension stuff, because you know it's very important on dirt bikes. So okay, all right, so we'll see how this modification did when I take it to Metcalf. I will shoot a video of me riding around Metcalf, and then I'll let you guys know what it's like, how it compares to the KLX140 shock. Okay, hopefully it's better. I got the compression turned up all the way, and then the rebound is like in the middle, so I could probably increase it more. Okay, all right. Here's me out. Thanks for watching. Oh, I'm back. Okay, so yeah, I forgot to mention how long it took me to do this. It literally took about a week for me to finish this whole project. Okay. Okay, so the reason that it took so long was because I was waiting for the shock oil to come. Okay. The shock oil is not easy to find. Okay, if you find a place you can get it locally, then good for you. It was just a waste of time for me to go from shop to shop looking for this shock oil, because motorcycle shops normally sell fork oil, but they don't sell shock oil because not a lot of people service their own shocks. Okay, Like I said, this is probably the third shock that I've done. I've done 2 DR650 shocks and then this one, okay? This one was pretty bad when I opened it up, all right? So that's why I definitely thought it's a good idea to do it, okay? I feel that I probably could have done better getting the shock, okay? I could have got a cheaper one, okay? I should have gone for a cheaper one because this one needed a service anyway. So I would say just buy the cheapest one you can get. Get one from like a 90s KX if you can, you know? But get the cheapest shock you can find and then just rebuild it. Okay, if you can rebuild it. If you want to pay more money and get one that you know that's been serviced, then you know that's less, you know, that's less for work for you, but you know, more damage to your wallet. That's what I want to say. Hazemaker was trying to do this for as cheap as possible, okay? So anyway, I was talking about how long it took me to do it. It took me like a whole week, like more than a week to get this done, and I was planning to get it done in like a day. So definitely I was not expecting to service a shock. That was not the plan, okay? But all I did was change the oil, okay? We changed the oil and we put a new fill of nitrogen in it. So yeah, total time I think it took like 12 hours to do this, okay, with the shock service. I think without the shock service maybe like 8 hours or something, okay? So it's kind of a lot of work, okay? But it's just kind of nuts and bolts and stuff, and then you have to set the preload and all that stuff. And servicing the shock is just meticulous, you know, kind of meticulous and annoying, you know, kind of work. So it's like changing the oil, but worse, all right? It's like changing the oil in the car, but worse. That's what I say, all right? But it's really not that hard, okay? Don't let it scare you. But I feel that if you have the skills and the tools to do it, I say go for it. But we'll find out when I take this bike to the motorcycle park and take it for a spin. So I'll let you guys know. I've always, you know, the rear suspension on this bike has always been not so good, okay? The front has been good, but not the back. So now I have full KX suspension front and rear, okay? I think that's the way they should have built this bike in the first place, you know. All the parts fit, and the frame is pretty similar, so yeah. But it's all about saving money, right? Well, yeah. I don't know what other bike that's this size that, you know, has, well, I think a CRF150 is about this size, but that bike isn't a high maintenance bike. So okay, anyway, so yeah, it took me a whole week. It took me more than a week to do this, and I think total work time I put into it is probably 12 hours, okay, with the servicing the shock and everything. All right, here's we go.